Top of the morning, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Oleksandr Usyk. Get this. Oleksandr Usyk states that it's true. Usyk admits to massive trick he used to get the Anthony Joshua fight. Just over a year since his second victory over Anthony Joshua, Oleksandr Usyk has confirmed something many had suspected in the lead up to the first fight. Joshua and Usyk shared 24 rounds of tactical warfare in 21 and 22 of the years. The Ukrainian southpaw came out victorious in both fights. Firstly, won and then defended the WBA, WBO, and IBF world titles that Joshua had collected. And this is what he said. He said, "Let people watch my fight with Chisora and think what they used to think." And Sinai then put forward the theory that Usyk had played possum against Chisora with a view to luring in Joshua for the pair's first big money fight in Jeddah. He was asked if there was any truth in that. He said, "Yes, it's true." And let's take a look. Let's see here. There's a video.
When people are saying how you can beat Oleksandr Usyk at heavyweight, they look at the Chisora fight. They say Derek Chisora had success against Oleksandr Usyk. What was it about Derek Chisora that maybe at times you struggled with?
Хай люди дивляться поєдинок з Дереком Chisora і думають так, як вони думають.
Let people watch my fight with Derek Chisora and think what they used to think.
Well, this was something interesting, actually, because there was another thought that perhaps you fought within yourself against Chisora, played possum, so to lure Anthony Joshua. Is there any truth in that?
Альтернативна думка з цього приводу, що ти бився тоді не з Дереком Chisora, а з самим собою. І що в якомусь сенсі ти заманював Ентоні Джошуа на бій з собою.
Так, це правда.
Yes, this is true.
And as you guys just heard and was translated by Oleksandr Usyk, that he confirmed that it was true. And let me counterpunch. First off, let me add to that, okay? Because this news broke a couple years ago. When Oleksandr Usyk came out there and had one hell of a performance against Anthony Joshua, okay? People were very surprised. But what people were doing, like some people mostly do, they started shitting on AJ, saying that he's not the same, saying that he's this, saying that he's that, saying that he's overrated, all that stuff. Instead of really understanding what really happened, okay? And what happened with Oleksandr Usyk was, he said he played possum. However, I think it was more than that, okay? Because what was revealed at the time when Oleksandr Usyk fought Derek Chisora, he might have been playing possum or not, but how much possum was he really playing? Because he also admitted that he had COVID-19, okay? And because he had COVID-19, he described it as, I was getting over or recovering the plague or the disease that was plaguing the world at the time. That's how he worded it, okay? That's what was going on at the time, COVID-19. That was plaguing the world, the disease that was plaguing the world. He was recovering from that. So along with playing possum, he also was getting over an illness, the same illness millions of people had all over the globe. Okay, so we cannot forget that fact. Okay, and I'll add this to this whole issue, okay, just to clarify. If Oleksandr Usyk goes in there, if he goes in there, there's two separate outcomes. If he goes in there and fights Daniel Dubois, and Daniel Dubois gives him one hell of a fight, okay, but Oleksandr Usyk wins, but then, you know, he wins on a decision where Daniel Dubois, you know, can claim a moral victory. He can go in there and be respected as a fighter that he, you know, is, okay? And he goes in there and, you know, gives Oleksandr Usyk some hard rounds, 3 or 4 rounds, maybe 4 or 5 rounds of some pure aggression. And Oleksandr Usyk comes back and does what he does. But it's nothing really spectacular, nothing over the hill, nothing exceptional. Okay, that's one scenario. People are going to think, oh, well, hey, you know, they're, you know, other fighters like Tyson Fury would have beat him. That's what have been said, okay? Or 2, he goes in there and he really just slices Daniel Dubois to pieces. And he goes in there and does that, and he goes in there and does that easily. Well, that scenario, the other scenario, the second, will prove what he did in the Derek Chisora fight. Okay? So if he was playing possum in the Derek Chisora fight just to get the Anthony Joshua fight, right? And he goes in there and he beats Daniel Dubois up, well, he would be revealing himself for that possum bid and the COVID combination to be true. That's all. Then that's easy to believe, because at that point you're like, okay, well, there's way more levels to Oleksandr Usyk than we even imagined. Okay. Or if the first one happens, how do we know he's not playing possum again just to get the Tyson Fury fight? See, a lot of times these fighters have to show a certain performance in order for these other guys to come out or to feel comfortable enough to sign that dotted line to take a fight with them. See, he was concerned that Anthony Joshua, if he's seen Oleksandr Usyk piece up Derek Chisora, which is a stubborn, durable warhorse, maybe he wouldn't have took the fight. Maybe he would have done something else. Maybe he would have fought somebody else. Maybe. But if my guess is, knowing what we know now, since he is reiterating, admitting once again that he did play possum, how do we know he won't do that again? We can only expect that, because I think Oleksandr Usyk now, based on him playing possum, based on dumbing down his performance, I think he plays the long game. Meaning his strategy is not for just this fight. He's able to win a fight without looking exceptional. So then another fighter, or the fight that he wants, can come out or can become a more available or more appealing because he looks less of a risk. Okay? And I think that may be what we see. So, people, if we go out there and we see a very competitive fight between Daniel Dubois and Oleksandr Usyk, doesn't necessarily mean that Daniel Dubois was just fighting his heart out. Now, it doesn't mean, and it doesn't exempt that, but it doesn't mean that it's all Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois may go out there to do exactly what he can do and all he can do, and that's what we wish for Daniel Dubois. But if it's a competitive fight and you look in there and you say, okay, well, there's nothing really that special about Oleksandr Usyk. Maybe he's getting old. Maybe he's just getting old. Well, in that case, please consider the fact that he may be playing possum yet again. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Oleksandr Usyk admitting that he played possum in the Anthony Joshua saga. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.